this is our final session, as I told you in the previous sessions, that, we're going to have like a limited amount of sessions. So tell me, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
You doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
So what could you tell me about your process so far with our sessions?
The sessions have been very helpful. There's a lot of things that I don't think I would have acknowledged or known about had I not come to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just not only learned a lot about myself, but I've learned a lot about a lot of the issues that I've been a part of too, and how I can change a lot of that.
Okay, so that's good. So what ways would you say that you have changed?
Well, one of the ways is I try not to, let me see if I can do this the right way. I'm trying to be better with my communication, not just with my mom, but like with my friends and my boyfriend. I'm learning how to say no, knowing that no is okay, to say to them, not being so caught up in peer pressure like we talked about before in some of our sessions. Learning how to be able to express myself. I'm still working on it, but just learning how to express myself in a better way, learning how to use my words and not my fists, because that was something else that, I was trying to work on. So yeah, I'm learning a lot so far.
Okay, well, as you know, we have as well been talking about, behavior problems over the course of the sessions, behavior problems at home as well. So how is everything going on with relationship with your mother? Have you been getting better in communicating with your mother?
It's still a challenge, honestly, but it's getting better, but it's still, we still have a lot more to go between me and my mom.
So I know we had talked about some goals. We discussed about, trying to come in curfew, trying not to break curfew as much, maybe doing chores around the house. So how's that coming? How is your mother, taking into everything?
Well, okay, both of us, like I said, it's still a progress. We're still working on it, but I do try to use my words, like I said, better. Trying not to use foul language as far as like cussing and stuff like that, because I used to do that, and I'm still trying to work on that with her as far as using positive language and trying to be respectful towards her, but that's still been a work in progress. I have been trying to do more around the house, like doing the chores, that's one of our goals that, I set for myself, or we set for myself. So the chores have been good. Sometimes she comes in, things are already done, like I've washed the dishes or, cleaned up my room and things like that, so she doesn't have to say anything. But our communication is still rocky because we still get into it from time to time. We kind of recently got into it. Before I came to this last session, we got into it a little bit, and I ended up leaving, and I went and stayed with my boyfriend because I was really upset, and I feel like if I would have stayed, things would have escalated to a worse situation than what it was. But we basically just got into it over something really petty, like really simple, and I don't know why it went to that extreme. I don't know if something happened on her job or what, but she just kind of lashed out, just started, getting up in my face and saying stuff to me and, being disrespectful. So, I mean, when somebody does that to you, you automatically feel the urge to go back 10 times harder on them. So, that wasn't good. And I feel like, honestly, after I went over my boyfriend's house and I was telling him about it, and I was just frustrated. I was telling him how I wish things could have been different, because I know they could have been different. But at the time, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking about coping skills. I was thinking about anything that we had been talking about, and I just kind of lashed out myself.
So you basically feel like you need to work more or better with your coping skills, coping mechanisms.
Yes.
What was the situation that occurred between you and your mother, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, you're okay. Basically, she came in the house. She had an attitude, which is why I figured something happened at work. Because she was already frustrated. Like, you could feel that energy coming off of her. But I was in the kitchen fixing me a sandwich, and I was about to go in my room and eat it, and she's like, "Oh no, you're not going in your room to eat anything. You need to eat in the front." This has never been an issue before, Miss Lynn, of me eating in my room, but today it's an issue. So I wasn't trying to argue with her at first. I was like, Mom, I've been eating in my room, so what's the issue? What's the problem? But she was just like, don't backsass me, don't talk back, go up front and eat in the kitchen. So I was still trying to ask her respectfully, like, what's going on? Like, why are you upset? Why can't I eat in my room? But she started yelling at me. She started cussing at me. And before I knew it, I saw red, and I started cussing at her, yelling at her. We got in each other's faces. We was about to fight each other, and that's when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
And I left.
Sometimes you do both. As humans, we need that cool off period. Like you said, she was frustrated. She seemed frustrated, maybe from work or something. So she could have possibly needed, time to just kind of recollect her thoughts, process everything that might have happened, as well as, you kind of trying to maybe possibly might try to respect, that maybe
Right.
she might not be feeling, up to, or frustrated about a certain situation that might have happened. But I also think that when you feel the urge to, curse out your mother, do you think maybe you could walk away from it, just take a breather, do the little 10-second counting method that we discussed in previous sessions?
And that's the thing, it's so hard, when it's happening for you to think of that stuff. I do want it to be more natural. And I know with practice it will be more natural. But at the time, it was just like, I don't want to do any of it. I just want to, get at her like she's getting at me. But I need to learn also just how to not let her control me, let her get to my emotions or make me want to lash out, because like you said, I should be able to just walk away and not, give her that type of energy. But I also just wish, and that's why I'm hoping that working, on these sessions and being able to communicate better with her, I can actually sit down and say, Mom, what happened today? Why are you so frustrated? Because I could have did that. I could have been like, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you frustrated with something I did? Honestly, is it me eating in my room that's frustrating you? Or, what's going on? But it's hard to do that, like I said, in that moment when somebody is yelling at you, in your ear and, putting their hand in your face. And it's, all of the things that tick me off were happening. So it's really hard to concentrate and get to that place of, okay, this is your mom, respect her. Do this, do that. It's hard sometimes.
Yeah, it can be fairly difficult, and even like someone as far as myself, we all kind of have that issue or problem with how to come across, how to deal with situations like that where you're trying to remain calm, but the other person isn't.
Right.
So you just have to learn how to, kind of do maybe not even talk, or kind of just do a little, not silent treatment, but if she's just yelling, you don't always have to talk back maybe. Wait for her to cool off and then talk to her like, hey Mom, this is how I felt. Or if you feel like you can't even talk to her, would you feel comfortable maybe jotting a note or a journal? You would?
I wouldn't mind journaling or writing to my mom and then actually, sitting down and talking to her about it. Because even just talking with you, I feel like honestly I could have been quiet and just did what she asked me to do in the first place. Instead of just arguing with her, because that escalated to a place where it didn't even have to, over something so minor, and so petty. So now that I'm thinking about it, just from talking to you, I honestly could have been like, okay, let me just go into the kitchen and eat. And let that be it.
Okay, yeah. So how else do you feel if your mother was here right now, what would you tell her? How would you describe your mother? What would you tell her about herself if she was in this room right now?
First of all, it has to be positive. Because I know that I'll probably say something. I want her feelings or make her leave the session. But I guess I would be like, Mom, first off, I do love you. I do, care for you, and I respect you as my mother. But I think there's some things that you and I could both work on when it comes to, our communication issues. I think we both need to learn how to, be assertive for each other. Be able to say what we need to say, but be able to say it in a loving manner, not in a way that can hurt her or me, you know. I think my mom is a wonderful person, but I think sometimes I feel like I said, she wants it her way or no way, like I've said to you before, and I feel like sometimes she wants me to live through her, and I just can't do that. Like, I'm my own person, and that's something else that I would tell her, is that I'm me, and that you are you, and we have, you know, different paths, but I'm open to you sharing your thoughts, sharing your opinions, you know, of what you want me to do, but at the end of the day, it's still my decision.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So, those are just some of the things that I would really like to talk to my mom about and like further communicate with her. But like I said, it's still been rocky. But I would really love to like journal or write letters or whatever to her, to where we can have some type of communication started.
Okay, so you do feel like maybe that would be probably the best or the easiest method to communicating with your mother?
Yeah. Or this, like, you know, counseling. I don't know if we could do something like that to where we could both be counseled, you know, maybe by
family counseling.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know, as we stated, you know, your father isn't in your life. Have you and your mother, like, first off, I know that you kind of felt like a little bit of resentment towards that. You still feel a little bit of that resentment?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that. Like, have you talked to your mother recently, since our last couple sessions, about how you feel about your father, like how you want to know who he is?
Okay, I haven't talked to my mom about that. And I'm kind of afraid to, because I don't really know how the relationship with her and my father are currently. But I do have resentment, because I feel like every young woman needs to know her father. I think that's a powerful thing, and when you strip us of it, it does something to us, you know. Like, it really affects me. It affects, you know, my life and my decisions, especially when it comes to males. So, yeah, I really do resent her for it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, being here and having you, you know, talk to me about it, I just feel like I shouldn't resent her that much, because, I mean, it's not her fault, you know? Like, I don't know why my dad left, you know, I don't know the story behind that. I would love to know and to, you know, hear both sides, possibly, but, I mean, I shouldn't resent my mom for that, because some things are honestly out of your control. So, I don't think that I should say resent, but I will say that I dislike the fact that I don't know him, you know, know where he is, things like that.
So do you think that could possibly be a reason why your mother why you feel that your mother may kind of be like attacking you at times, or because she kind of, maybe she like, do you think maybe she might see you through your father, or like, how do you think she
That's
feels
good.
about the
I don't
situation?
know. I really don't know. That's a great way to look at it. I don't know if I have characteristics like my father. I don't know, but that could possibly be one of the issues.
So would you consider, like, as time goes on after this last session, like maybe sitting down with your mom and having, like, when you guys are just like having more family time, spending more time together, maybe one day that could be a conversation that can come up. You would?
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay. So, like, what do you plan on, like, how do you plan on where do you plan on going after this?
Last session.
Yes, last session. Where are you trying to go after this? Like,
As far as like the goals and as far as, okay.
Yes.
I would like to spend more time with my mom. I think that's very important. I think I do need to be in the house more. I think I need to learn how to face my problems head on instead of running away, like I did with that situation, to just leave and go to my boyfriend's house. I think that I should stay and, you know, try to communicate. Maybe when things boil down, try to get some type of communication going between the two of us, so that, you know, that's the only way we're going to communicate. If we constantly run away, we're not communicating. So I think just learning how to sit down and spend more time as a family, maybe then I could be able to talk to her about my dad as things, you know, go into a better position in place. Like I said, just learning how to be more respectful, learning how to say things in a more positive way, you know, not lashing out, cussing her out, doing all that stuff, you know. Just remembering that she is my mother too, and that I have to respect her. She is my elder. But yeah, I think those are just some things that I could work on.
Well, I do feel, you know, you're on the right road. I think you're on the right path. You've improved a lot since our first session. And I can honestly say I'm pretty proud of how far you have come along throughout these sessions.